Hey, what's good, guys? My name is Chris.
And I'm Jody.
And welcome back to episode 4 of WearTesters Unlaced. This is our podcast, a video-based podcast. Just in case you're listening on any other podcasting platform, I believe only Spotify has the video option available.
It blew my mind. It's so cool.
It is cool. I still don't watch or listen to podcasts, but either way, the podcast is intended to be a video-based podcast. However, if you are out there listening on other podcast services or platforms, first off, thank you. Second off, if you wanted to see anything that we're talking about, you'd have to go to either Spotify or our YouTube channel. There are chapters marked and everything, so you could just jump right to whatever it is that you might want to see. Like if you're in the toy time, or not toy time, but the Timeout, which is toy time. But if you're in that and you're just
nerd
like,
zone.
Yeah, and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, that's where you can see it and stuff. But welcome back. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the support. This episode is brought to you guys by the good folks over at White Gold Industries.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding.
They really should, because they get so much publicity from us. But yes, almost every shirt you see Chris in is from White Gold Industries. He gets stopped while we're like out
Everywhere.
and about.
Not because of YouTube.
No.
Because of my shirt.
Speaking of, can you fix your sleeve, please?
What's wrong with it?
It's all folded up.
It's fine. It's just...
He's just trying to show them guns.
Oh, yeah. What are these, like 6 inches? So, yeah, big guns. No. But anyways, so this is our podcast. We're going to go through a few things, and the very first thing that we're going to be talking about is actually the sneaker news. So just in case you guys are new here, our sneaker news segment is very simple. It's basically just the sneaker news. We talk about anything that interests us, basically, so we're not going to cover everything. A lot of times we pull from either the Sneaker News Instagram account. Sometimes we'll even pull from Z Sneakerheads. He gets more early stuff or leaks. Today, though, we're only talking about one specific shoe, and this is what irritated me last time. So we normally film midweek, this whole podcast and everything. The downside to that is that sometimes, or most of the time, news comes out when we're done filming, either same day, next day, or Friday. And so that's usually what happens. That's what happened last week, where we filmed everything. We talked about some stuff, some things were new and stuff, but some things didn't have context, like those Kobe's. And then all of a sudden, the following day, Nike Basketball announced its lineup for the holiday season, and this, that, and the other. That Kobe shoe was part of it, along with a slew of other stuff. And we were both sitting here like, man, what the shit? So we kind of like missed the news cycle or whatever, which is unfortunate, but just part of the game, I guess, when we're doing stuff like this and pre-recording instead of it being live. But the DBook one, the colorway name for this particular colorway seems to be Chapter 1. At least that's what I have gathered from everything. I don't know if that's officially true or not, but it's this orange colorway. Basically, it's Devin Booker's signature shoe, his first signature shoe. I don't know if you know who Devin Booker is, do you?
I do not.
You don't? Okay. A professional athlete, for one. 2, he plays for the Phoenix Suns.
Okay. Hence the orange colorway?
I believe so. But yeah, he's also known as like one of the most stylish players off court. He's most known for wearing Kobe's, especially since Kobe's passing, but he had been wearing Kobe's not all throughout his career, for most of it though. So when the Kobe brand thing was happening, a lot of people were assuming that he would be one of those athletes like that would play in Kobe's for his career and stuff, which ends up not being the case. Instead, he's getting his own signature. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe that's a different topic for a different day, but I actually don't mind when players get their own signature shoes. I know that a lot of players do get signature shoes nowadays, so it feels way more saturated than it did back in the 90s and in the early 2000s. But he's got his own shoe. His shoe is very lifestyle looking.
Yes, that was the first thing I thought was, oh, it kind of looks like I want to play in a Dunk or I want to play in an Air Force One, but make it more modernized so that they're not so clunky or... And
that, in a nutshell, is the shoe.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the best description. It is an Air Force One style basketball shoe built with modern materials. So the thing that I always hear all the time is like outdated tech. This shoe is outdated. The shoe from the 90s is outdated, and it's literally false. Like, they still use the same tech today. It's just the implementation of the tech is a little bit different and stuff like that. If anything, the shoes in the 90s were more tech heavy than the majority of anything on the market today, especially a signature.
Boy, were they heavy.
They were heavy, but they've thinned out a lot of you guys that watch the channel already know. I talk about it. I learned a lot of things over the past 14 years, and I always share that information with you guys. But one of the easiest ways to cut weight on a shoe is to cut rubber out. So that's why a lot of times you see all of these really thin outsoles, and it's one of the reasons why the outsoles don't last very long is because they are so thin. It reduces a ton of weight, but you also sacrifice a lot of durability for that. So as far as the actual tech goes though, which the rubber is not, we're talking about shank plates, we're talking about foams or foam compounds, we're talking about little add-ons or doodads, you know, like flaps, straps, lockdown wings, whatever.
I was going to call those layers.
But
I know what you're talking about.
Those are panels.
Too. Yeah.
So yeah. And then there's the actual tech, like the cushioning and stuff, like a air unit, a zoom unit, Strobel, whatever it is that is there. It's all still there. It's been there since the 70s. It's there now. Like it's not outdated tech. They literally use the same tech today. So like that whole like it's outdated, like come on bro, like it's visually there. Let's be real about it. Again, if anything, shoes today are less tech heavy. There's no shanks in most shoes. If there is a shank, it's plastic. It's not carbon. You know what I mean? So like it's weak or it's tiny. It's like a little rectangle and stuff. So yeah, so if we're talking about things that are outdated or not quite as good as what it used to be, that's today.
Well, and it's not just in shoes. It's our appliances.
It's everything.
Everything.
Cars, everything. Things are not built to last. They're built to expire so that you can buy them again. You've kind of explained a little bit what you feel, because obviously you're not a basketball player. So is there anything that you want to add outside of that? Do you think the shoe looks good? Do you think the colorway that they've chosen is a good one?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad looking shoe. You explaining his off-court look makes everything make that much more sense. Like obviously he's like, no, I want people, like, because that's the thing, Currys aren't a lifestyle shoe, like unless you're a kid, and even then I feel like several years ago a lot of kids were wearing his shoes, but not now. Just so he's the pretty boy. Yes, I know who Devin Booker is.
Yeah. Just so that you have a face to the name.
So I can see him being like, no, I want my stuff on people's feet. Nobody's walking around in LeBrons casually. Nobody's really walking around.
Not a lot of people.
Yeah, so I feel like there's this...
Not a lot of people wear them on court either.
I know.
Until the 20s.
I feel like there's this big disconnection, and that's fine. Like, your sporting stuff should be sporting stuff.
Right.
If you can wear them outside of that, that's just a plus.
I think that's, again, kind of another discussion, which something that we might hit later on in today's episode. But, like, the stuff that you wear for sport back when we were young was also worn casually. It was our one shoe usually for the year.
It was a different time.
It definitely was a different time.
Yeah.
So, but they also looked good with the stuff that you wear today. I don't know if that was necessarily on purpose, because they were designing for function. You know what I mean? It's just that the manufacturing process and the materials used were a little bit different. They've learned to be able to cut down costs a lot by using cheaper materials today, like meshes and textiles and synthetics like plastics and stuff like fuses. I don't mean synthetics as in like synthetic leathers, because they had been using those in the 80s and 90s and 2000s as well. But it's just the manufacturing process is so different. So everything's very flat. It's very muted. There's not much design to it. Like if you were to look at something like the LeBron 20 and 21, there's no paneling. It's just a flat shoe. I do think that designing something today with the intent of on and off court use is interesting, for one, because again, they weren't really thinking about that. Like Tinker wasn't thinking about, not until the 11. Like it was MJ. He told this story when we were in Portland, but like he told the story of like MJ telling him, when he brought him the shoe in the locker room of the Birmingham Barons or whatever.
They were under a sweaty towel to keep it from everybody else in the room. Right,
like all the media and all the other players, like they were under a towel, and he was showing them, he was like, hey, Nike doesn't want me to make this. They want to cancel your line. But I made these. What do you think? And it was the Concord 11, and MJ was just looking at him and he was like, yo, people are going to wear this suits.
No, he said people are going to get married in these.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes.
Same thing. But
no, different.
I guess.
Different.
I mean, you wear a suit to get married.
No, so continue the story.
And then, basically he, as far as I remember, fast forwarded the story.
Yes.
And the 11s were unveiled on TV live, much like what he did with the 14, meaning MJ, where he wore the sample way before he were even supposed to. And it was the same thing. Tinker went to the arena, brought him the shoes. He was just like, hey, these are prototypes. Do not wear them, please. You are on national television. I will get in trouble. This is just a prototype sample of your next shoe. Lo and behold, MJ's out there in these shoes, and Ahmad Rashad's on TV being like, look at Jordan's new Jordans, and everybody's like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like everybody in marketing and Tinker and stuff, he's just like, I'm surprised he didn't get fired. So anyways, so that's how that shoe came about. And then fast forward to, what was it, the Grammys?
I think it was the Grammys, but Boyz II Men went up on stage and they're in their suits and on their feet
Concord 11s.
The Jordan 11s, and all of a sudden Tinker's phone starts ringing. His wife goes and picks it up. She's just like, hello, who is this? And he's just like, it's Michael. And she's just like, Michael who? And he's just like, Michael Jordan. She's like, oh, that Michael. And so she like brings the phone over to Tinker, and Tinker answers it, and he's like, hello. And what does Jordan say?
I told you, motherfucker. And then it hangs up. and literally like that was the story, and we were all laughing and we're like, damn. And so it was just one of those moments. But like that was like one of the first shoes where it was kind of like, and I don't even still know if that was necessarily Tinker's intent. It's just that was one of the first shoes that people were like, yo, you can wear these like with fresh.
Yeah, that was Chris's goal originally when we were gonna get married and have like a big wedding.
Oh yeah, we were poor though, man, so that didn't happen.
So, but he got married in some Jordan 10s.
Yeah. The all black ones, if you guys remember those. They had a white Jumpman in the back. But anyways, I do think it's a good move to kind of try to do both, because that's usually the thing that you read in the comments. I think that's also a detriment to like how we grew up, is that you didn't know necessarily what was going to hit until it hit.
Yes.
But today there's all this feedback because everybody's connected.
Yeah.
And so like there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of chatter. And so it's kind of hard to focus on like what you want to do, what you want to make, like what your intention is. I do think though that it is a good thing to at least attempt.
Yes. I don't think
both.
that should be your main goal. Like obviously,
which it isn't.
Obviously, it needs to be a good shoe on court. That's your number one goal. But if you can make it so that like 30-year-old moms want to buy them too, or every kid at school wants to just wear them because they're trendy.
Right.
Who's going to say no to all that money?
Exactly. So yeah, so I thought it was a good move. Do I like the design overall? I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Air Force One as it is. My first thought was when I saw the shoe unveiled was, why didn't they just remake the Air Force 25 again then?
Oh, I don't know. I like them. They're slimmed.
Well, so for the 25th anniversary of the Air Force One, they made a new shoe called the Air Force 25, and it was both high and low. Talk about tech though, like, so this shoe, Devin Booker's shoe, has Cushlon 2.0, which is funny because Cushlon 3.0 debuted first in the Jordan 38s and stuff like that. So I just thought that was weird because in that video I was like, where's the 2.0? There it is. It's just, I guess there was a delay. I don't know. So I thought that was weird. And then the zoom unit is in the heel. So there's a zoom air unit in the heel, nothing in the forefoot, and a little torsion bar shank plate, and that's it. Like that's the tech outside of like, you know, the foam and stuff. So the Air Force 25 though was heel air, so it was paying tribute to the Air Force One with that, but it also had full-length zoom, I believe, on top of all of that. Hella comfortable shoe. So yeah, so that was like, my first thought was, why didn't you just bring out that shoe and just put it on Booker? You know what I mean? Because like I was like, that shoe was way better than like this one. If we're talking tech, outdated tech, just from the sound of it, you already know that the shoe that they made for the 25th anniversary outweighs this other one in tech. Like that one even I think had a carbon fiber plate. So I can't remember the price point of the shoe. I do think it's more of an entry level price. So I believe it'll be like about $130 or under. But don't quote me on that because I literally cannot remember. Maybe I should look real quick. Looks like $150.
Ouch.
I know, for that level of no tech, that's where I'm like, yikes.
So he's starting, KDs are still at 150, yeah? They were for a while, that was their sweet spot.
Yeah, they were for a long time. I don't know if I think they did just get increased. This is why we don't talk about the price, because like they always fluctuate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, plus price never equals performance. Everybody always like says like, oh, I paid $200 for these, like they're gonna be awesome. Sometimes they suck. And like if you, like say you buy that shoe for $200 and it's amazing, it's not because it was $200, it's because just the shoe is amazing. They just charge you $200. You go and find that same shoe at Ross for $30, still the same shoe. It was an amazing shoe. You just got a great deal.
Buying anything is frustrating. If it's too good of a deal, you're like, why is it that price? But then you're also like, I don't want to spend X price, so that's why I end up buying always in the middle. And then it's kind of like, did I get a deal? I don't know if I got a deal.
I don't mind spending more as long as you do gain more. So like when we're talking about value, I do think 150 is a signature sweet spot. Like I don't feel like signature shoes should be over that.
I don't think anything performance-wise that goes on your feet should be over $150.
Well, you wear $100+ sandals.
And my feet are super comfy, but they're not over $150.
They're close. For something that has 2 straps, a buckle, and a cork bottom. Those are expensive. You get your money's worth because you wear the
I do.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, price is just relative to whoever the consumer is. All right. So usually we will add in a couple more segments, like the shoes we didn't review, the shoes that we did review, like our favorite video of the week or whatever. But instead of doing all that, we're just going to jump straight to Timeout. Now, our timeout segment is literally a timeout from all things sneakers. I have many other interests, clearly. That are not just, you know, shoe related and basketball related. So one of those things is action figures, comics, movies, all of that. We will put them in this segment. Usually I will bring out like some collectibles, which I was not going to even show these, but you put them in here because you clean the kitchen. So
I was cleaning the kitchen and I needed to be like,
yeah, so I'm going to show this, but this was not the intent. But I told you guys that like NECA is one of my favorite, like NECA, Super 7, McFarlane. Those are some of my favorite things to collect that are reasonably priced typically. Some of the more expensive things, Mafex and Figuarts, those are like other great figures, but they're premium, or premium pricing. And premium sculpt and articulation, but that's getting super nerdy. But anyway, so like this movie right here is the worst movie maybe ever, which is unfortunate. It's pretty bad. I keep trying to watch this one, like hoping that like maybe there's something redeeming in there, and there's nothing. Like I get mad watching this. Even as a kid, I left the movie theater being like, what the f was this?
How old were you?
I was like 6 or 7 when the first one came out, and then I would have been like a year later for the second one. I don't know when the third one dropped.
You know what? Our son has a really big thing against paper straws, and I've seen him get irate about them, so I can picture mini you.
Oh, young me just being like, what the hell did I just watch? There's only been a few times where like that's happened. It was this movie, Batman and Robin, and when the Penguin bit off someone's nose in Batman Returns. I wish I would have been there to see me react to that, because I couldn't believe that. I was like, he bit off his face, like,
yeah,
in a Batman movie? Like, it was crazy.
We had a whole conversation a while ago about you explaining to me the whole background of like how they had to make the Batman movies more kid-friendly because parents were so upset. I didn't watch those movies until I was probably in junior high, like, so it had been some time, and I was just like, what? Like, people were scared of these movies? I know scary movies. I don't like scary movies, but I would have never have categorized these as...
Trust me, that Penguin was fucking scary. Just his backstory was creepy.
It is very sad now. I don't know. Maybe I watched it as a jaded kid. I don't know.
I was a little dude watching parents scream and put their child just born into a basket, into a river that then went into the sewer.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Like, trust me, man. Not saying it wasn't awesome. I'm just saying I was young and it was a memory. But anyways, this is a bad memory, but they're really great action figures. NECA does a great job. I love that they mimicked the original VHS box. I have the Secret of the Ooze collection as well. I also have the first one, but I don't have the one that comes in this style box, like the 4-pack. I bought the original figures like separately.
I was gonna say they're individual.
Yeah, well, I bought 2 of them. They did like Walmart 2-packs, and then they also did individual GameStop single things, and I have all of them because I'm weird. And yeah, but anyways, I think that the figures look amazing. I originally had as a kid the Michelangelo from this, like the original Playmates version and stuff, where it had the samurai like face mask that you can put on and off, and it came with one of the scepters. And I remember you could take the lid off the scepter and there was a little ball in there because it was supposed to mimic the thing that spins and makes them travel through time and all that stuff. But yeah, these figures are really cool. What I love most about them is that they came with extra faces that go with my previous turtle purchases, and so they're the faces from the original 1990 film. I just think that it's a really cool thing to have. I again really don't like the movie, but the figures are awesome. So and if you're a weird collector that kind of needs like the pieces, you know what I mean, then this is one of those things. Now, the main thing that we're here to talk about for Timeout is actually Ahsoka.
Somebody asked last night after we watched Ahsoka, hey, should we not talk right now? Because I don't want to tell you what I'm thinking. And he's just like, no, no. And then he woke up this morning, he's like, I did want to talk about Ahsoka. And I was just like,
I forgot, okay? It happens, all right? But I also still wanted to talk about it right after the episode. It was awesome.
He'll want to talk about it for like the next 5 days as he watches other YouTube
5 days?
videos.
No, it'll be until next Tuesday. So first off, there's going to be spoilers. We're going to freely talk about all things Star Wars right here. So if you don't want to know anything about it, then fast forward or just leave.
Or pause and come back.
Well, I mean, if they don't know anything like this, there's a lot of stuff to catch up on. So that's what we're doing currently with her, is that she's watched the original trilogy, she's watched the prequel trilogy, she's watched the sequel trilogy, a couple of the movies in between, like Solo, Rogue One, stuff like that. But I don't think you watched Andor with me, did you?
No.
We're watching Rebels together now, but I've watched that series like ever since it first aired. It is my favorite Star Wars anything. That series is my favorite. I don't know why I like Clone Wars, or I didn't love it when it first came out, but like as the seasons went on, like it gets better. The first few seasons are slow. Like that's something that this show actually has in common, is the first couple episodes very slow. And if you don't know anything about anything that's happening, which most people didn't, because this is essentially Rebels season 5 titled Ahsoka, you're lost. You know what I mean? Like, you have no idea who Ahsoka even is, let alone any of the other characters. Should we just treat this as if they know what we're talking about?
Yeah, because otherwise this video's going to be so long.
I know, that's a lot of backstory. So we're just going to pretend like you know exactly what we know, or at least what I know, and then we'll get feedback and stuff. But the series so far, 6 episodes in, like as a whole, what do you think about it?
Again, I don't know why it's called Ahsoka. I don't think it should be called Rebels Season 5 though either. I think they should have done something like punny, or I don't know, but it does not feel like it's Ahsoka. I feel like I'm following Sabine around, and I really like Hera. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it should not be called Ahsoka. They should like go back to the drawing board on that one.
It should not be called something punny. This is
Star
Wars.
That are punny, and Star Wars has some like big cheese. Oh, I do want to share
There's
this.
big cheese in the stuff, but what Star Wars title is punny?
I'm just saying, like, liven things up. So in the very first Ahsoka episode, I want to say, they were able to use, what's the name of the scream?
Oh, the Wilhelm scream?
Yes, they used one Wilhelm scream. Or no, or was that in Rebels?
It's in both.
Was it?
Or I don't know if it was in Ahsoka. It might have been in Rebels.
Oh, okay. Because I told him, I was just
wasn't.
like,
I think it was in Rebels episode 1.
My brain is a mess right now because
She's in current continuity, but also going back in between. That's where my problem is that there's a timeline and it's all over the place.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
I might be watching Rebels for the first time all the way through, but I've been with this man forever, and it's not like he disappears to a dungeon to watch his shows. So like the shows have been on in the background, so I've seen them, and then he likes to watch this couple who does a rewatch of things, and they show clips, so I've seen that in there in the background. And then he's been watching everything that has to do with like what everybody else has been doing, trying to learn about Ahsoka. So like recaps there. So like I've seen those, and so I'm like, I know things that I probably shouldn't know, and everything's jumbled together. But I think something that they should really dig into is putting a token Wilhelm scream in every episode, every movie, everything Star Wars. It's a missed opportunity.
No, I like that they do it sparingly.
I would literally shoot somebody off or push somebody off or force something just so that scream could be in every single episode.
Yeah, no. So I think that the way that they do it is good, because if you overuse it, I think that's whack.
Nah, it's a great Easter egg.
But it is a little difficult because we're watching current timeline, which still isn't even current because it's in between.
Yeah.
It's after the original, but before the prequel.
Rey's not born, most likely.
That I don't know.
That's a big thing for me too, is we met Ezra in last night's episode.
Yes.
He showed up.
Or we didn't. We reunited.
We reunited, gave him a hug. And I said to Chris, how old is Ezra and Sabine supposed to be? Because Sabine acts like some like young 20-year-old chick. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wasn't she like in her like maybe late teens in the cartoon? So I'm like, somebody needs to sit down and
they were a little younger than our daughter.
Okay.
in the show.
She was?
Yes.
Oh,
So
she doesn't give that to me.
it's because it's animated, and they're like a family dynamic and misfits on top of that. Like they're literally rebels, and so like you've got Zeb and this defunct droid Chopper, and you've got Hera, who's a Twi'lek or whatever, and you got a Jedi, like a fallen Jedi. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like way more eclectic than the original trilogy was, even though the characters used are based off of the original concept art. At least for the droids and for Zeb and stuff. Like Zeb was supposed to be the Chewie, like original look, and Chopper was originally R2. They obviously went with what they went with. It's a really fun, like the Rebels series. There's 4 seasons. It's a really fun series that introduces you to new characters, new droids, but everything's very familiar because it's within the Star Wars realm. It's after Revenge of the Sith, but before A New Hope. It's right before Rogue One. If you watch that, that was actually a really good movie. Kanan is my favorite Jedi, you know what I mean? Chopper's my favorite droid, and this is coming from somebody that loves the original trilogy. I like the prequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy is kind of a mixed bag. So I love Star Wars, but like for whatever reason, that series is like the thing for me. Like I could just rewatch it over and over again. So when you're talking about that I watch and listen to this, that, and the other, it's because I just like it. I don't even need it. I just want to, like, yeah, I'll hear you talk about it. You know what I mean?
I know we're supposed to be focusing on Ahsoka the show, but I do really enjoy watching Rebels as the cartoon because it's very much the same thought process for me, where I like DC movies that are the cartoons. I really like the Justice League cartoon that lasted however many seasons.
She's not a fan of live action
superhero way stuff. Like my brain lives too much in the real world for that. Even though like
she cannot suspend her disbelief.
I'm really into Harry Potter and all of those things, and it works. But for some weird reason,
which is blasphemous, because that is garbage for me. Like I cannot watch that stuff.
Potterhead.
Not.
But when it comes to, and I think it is because like I grew up watching Batman the animated series, and so much of like it's very cool how when it comes to DC movies, the animated stuff, it all still very much looks like Batman the animated series.
That's because Bruce Timm is the man behind all of that stuff, so it still has the flavor.
Yeah, but even like the Wonder Woman movie that we watched.
Oh, that was great.
And
the animated one.
Yes, I like those. So Rebels, like you want to like force do all of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but then you put it in a live action, and sometimes I'm like,
like she had a problem when we were watching The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda was training with the Mandos and then uses the Force to jump around a little bit. And she was like, that looks so stupid. And I was
like... It looked like a sack of flour got flung through the air.
Well, he's a little guy. Like, what do you want?
So dumb. And then
all I was just like, don't you remember Yoda versus Dooku? And she was like, no. And I was like, well, that's what he was doing. He was flipping all over the place.
But it was like very heavily CGI, and I don't know, the Mando one didn't work. But then there's a toy that came out that's supposed to be, I don't even know, are you supposed to play with it or was it?
Yeah, but it's kind of a diorama too. But like it's like an action thing where he's jumping with Luke. Yeah. It's the Luke training sequence.
And Chris was just like, why'd you gotta go and ruin this scene for me?
I still think it's cool, but it's funny thinking that that's what she's thinking. That's what it is. It's like you think that this is some potato sack, and it's really just an animatronic being thrown around.
I don't know.
So, but yeah, she has a problem like suspending her disbelief for some reason, and I don't know why, because like she was saying, she enjoys like Lord of the Rings and these like folklore type of like, like magic and all that. That's stupid, and at least to me, like in my mind, like superheroes are like, they're obviously touted as like modern day Greek like gods and things like that, but when I see them, like I'm just like, this is so cool, and I've always like wanted to be a turtle or a Spider-Man or a Superman or a Batman or a Robin or whatever. Like I've always looked into that stuff like so heavily and everything. Power Rangers, whatever it is that you think or can think of that's superhero related, I love it. So I love the series. I love seeing it in live action though. We're talking about like Rebels and then Ahsoka. Seeing these characters in real life is cool. I do think that it is weird, to your point, that Sabine as a character has not grown since before the original trilogy to after the original trilogy. That's her timeline that we're in. There's a decade of her being the same.
She seems so much more confident in Rebels and like...
Well, she wasn't by herself though. That's the thing. She's like a recluse now.
But even then, like now, like she's kind of with somebody and she's just like full of doubt and
That I feel like is because she's being forced almost to become a Jedi. And she's not a Jedi. She's a Mandalorian. She's not force sensitive. It's like when we throw you in front of the camera and it's like, here, talk about this shoe. You're like, I don't like shoes. You know what I'm saying? So like it's like that, where it's like, what do you want me to do? And it's like, well, do your job. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, and that's what it is. Sabine's like, well, what do you want me to do? And Ahsoka's like, be a Jedi. And she's like, I'm not a Jedi.
Right.
That's the dichotomy or the relationship there. So it'll be interesting to see now that Ahsoka has herself grown as a character within the last 2 episodes, if she's going to train Sabine still or train her differently and allow her to be herself instead of forcing her to go in this Jedi mold that she just doesn't fit in, you know? Okay, so for our last segment, this is where we interchange lots of things. It could be an interview, it could be a story time, it can be an Ask Me Anything, which I think is what we did last episode.
Did.
So, but this time around we were in the middle of filming, I think it was the And One video.
Yes, we did a lot of filming that day, but what you're alluding to is the And One video.
Okay, so like in that video, I brought up this magazine right here. I would like to say for the record, though, that I got the year wrong. This was the 1999 issue. The other one was the 1998 issue. In that video, I flipped to the Kicks on Court section, which is, you know, like right here at the back of the magazine. This is always like my favorite thing. Like I would go to the drugstores or the magazine section at like when they had bookstores, like Barnes and Noble and whatever, and I would just find whatever the newest issue was and I'd skip straight to the back just because I want to see what was coming out. This was our internet back then, besides East Bay magazines and stuff. But there was this right here, which is their Kicks on Court section, and just on this first page, there's Adidas And One, Converse, Dada. And then you flip to the next page, Fila, K-Swiss, New Balance. We're still in the On Court section. Okay, Nike, and then Puma. You know what I mean? Like nothing from Jordan, surprisingly. Like, it's so weird. Then we got Reebok, Saucony or Saucony, Z Sport. I don't even know what that is. Oh, then there's Jordan at the end. And then they highlighted some other stuff, like more specifically, like the Iversons, like the answer threes and the questions, the Jordan 15, you know. And then there was the off-court section. Off-court section includes Adidas, Avirex, I don't know what that is, Converse, Dada, whatever, Emerica, S, like these are skate brands, you know what I mean? Etnies, Fila, Fubu, Hilfiger, Lugs, K-Swiss, New Balance, Nike, Puma, Reebok, Saucony, Skechers even. Remember when Skechers were cool?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you took it out of that video, but in there I had just straight up said like, yo, like I'm like coming to a realization while we're filming, being like, being a sneakerhead today kind of sucks. Being a sneakerhead of my age doesn't suck. Because things right now, like if we're talking about being a consumer and that's it, like a base level consumer, trying to buy what you want to buy today is pretty easy. You can get online, you can do it from your phone, you can do it from damn near anywhere. Literally, you could be at the pool, you could be on your couch, you could be in your bed, you could be at work, whatever. You could be in the basement, in the garage, you can be in your car. You can buy stuff at the push of a button in the palm of your hand. So like as far as being a consumer today, that's cool. But being a sneakerhead today sucks, because what's the brands?
Nike and Jordan.
And that's it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's the things that hit and trend with Puma every once in a while, or New Balance when we're talking about like the 550 or whatever, you know what I mean? Or Adidas and their Yeezy line. And that's even another discussion. Like people seem to think like, oh, without Yeezy, Adidas is dead. And, you know, they need Kanye's designs and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, I hate to break it to you, but Kanye didn't design a thing.
Well, but even then, going into a Foot Locker as a woman with a small foot, so like I can't even go to the men's side if I want to for a lot of the different brands, but like if I want a New Balance, like I have to hunt for them because they're not readily available for me. Adidas is a little bit better, but like they have such few
options
in different brands. Like it's almost like oh yeah, here's this other little shelf area.
That's because Foot Locker is paid heavily by Nike. The channel used to be partnered with Eastbay. Eastbay and I, first off, rest in peace to Eastbay. I know that it sounds dumb because it's just a company, but like as somebody of our age, they were our sneaker Bible and our sneaker news for a very long time. But when I was approached by them, they offered me this pitch. They were like, yeah, we love what you do and the honesty and the integrity that you bring to your videos, and we want that here at Eastbay. Like that's what we do. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I signed this deal with them. It wasn't very long after that like I'd have to send these videos in for approval, and they'd be like, hey, take this out, take this out, take this out. And I was like, no, that's vital information. Like if people are interested in this product, like these are the things they need to know. They need to know the good and the bad. And they're sitting there being like, oh, well, you know, we can't like piss off Nike. And I'm like, what the I don't work with Nike. I'm working with you. You know what I mean? And so like it was so weird. And they were just like, well, without Nike, like our business is going to go under. And I was like, if you're not honest, your business is going to go under. And that's what happened. Like, unfortunately, they didn't listen to a thing that I said. I gave them lots of great advice and they took none of it. And now look where they're at. So like, while I feel bad for all those people that lost their jobs, because they were chock full of great people and stuff, it's just the higher ups think that they want to, you know, it was like this, the PepsiCo's CEO moved over, and I don't have anything against like corporate bigwigs and shit like that outside of that they're idiots. You know what I mean? And I mean that in a very generalized sense and in a respectful way, even though I know that the word maybe is coming across as negative, but it's in the sense of like that you're very good at what you do and you're very intelligent with what you're very intelligent in. But you being part of this space is not what, like that doesn't work. And so if you want to be in charge of a company like this, you have to take opinions from the outside, like people that, I don't know, built it. You know what I mean? Whether they're the designers and the marketing people and the original PR teams or the consumers themselves. Like you have to listen to what people are telling you that you're not doing right. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't go in and just start changing and expect things to be great, especially when the numbers, and this is where they're smart, is with numbers, show them otherwise, but then they'd be adamant that this is the way that they need to do it. Because this worked over here. And it's like, well, Pepsi is a different product than Eastbay, which is what I was getting at. Side tangent, my bad. But, you know, back then, look at all of this diversity in footwear. You know what I'm saying?
Pages and pages.
Like you didn't go to school trying to flex to then flip. You went to school because like you were like, oh man, I really wanted this shoe, or it was in your budget, and within the budget, that's the shoe that you were like, yeah, that one's it right there. You know what I mean? And then what happened when you first went to school with a new pair?
Everybody went, oh.
No. No.
Everybody stepped on your toes.
Everybody stepped on your you know what I mean? And on purpose too.
You got some mean friends.
They weren't my friends.
Nobody stepped on my shoes.
Lucky you. As soon as you walked to school with a new pair of shoes, everybody's like, oh, got some new shoes. You'd be like, yeah, how do you, boom, stepping all over them. Sorry about all the podcast listeners. I didn't mean to
clap on
smack
them?
like that. Yeah, but that's just what happened. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, bro, what the I'm trying to keep these nice. You know what I mean? And they instantly dirtied them and like, do that to one of these new kids now. They'll be like, oh my God, you just destroyed the resale value and stuff. Like, it's just like they'll give you a heart attack. But yeah, man, Adidas got a bunch of stuff. And One's got a bunch of stuff. Like we got now, these new kids look at And One like a joke. Granted, it's the brand's own fault, but like they don't understand anything. But they all like chirp and talk like there is something that they know, but they don't know anything. Much like the bigwigs that go from one company to the next. It's like, no, bro, you gotta be open-minded a little bit, you know? Converse's stuff was crazy back then. Like this shoe right here, the All-Star Helium 01. They called it the HE01. I think that was Master P's shoe, if I remember correctly. And yes, he had a shoe. He was a hooper. And you remember who Master P is?
Yeah, he tried to be on Dancing with the Stars. And
oh,
he was the worst.
No, he didn't try. He was on Dancing with the Stars.
He was, and then he didn't try. And he was the worst.
Who cares? That show's stupid.
Don't go on something if you're not going to put any effort into it.
It was an easy paycheck.
No, I know, but that's even more embarrassing than actually trying and like not being great at it, in my opinion.
I understand where you're coming from, and I don't disagree. I'm just saying that for someone like him, he's probably like, man, it's going to be an easy paycheck. I'm just saying. That's how half the NBA is right now. Easy paycheck. I made it to the league. Easy paycheck. I'll sit on the bench.
I'll sit on the bench.
Easy paycheck. No, if I'm in the NBA, I want to play. Like, you worked your ass off to get there.
I'll sit on the bench and I'll take a ring.
So, but anyways, Converse got some dope Dada didn't have dope they were trying. Fila, same thing. Like, they had dope like, one of these pages in here had Grant Hill. They had all of his shoes that he wore from Fila, and these were all dope back then. Everybody wanted the Grant Hill 1s. Everybody wanted the Grant Hill 2s, the Grant Hill 3s. The Grant Hill 4s should retro.
Can I see this real quick? Thank you.
What?
Okay.
Do you not know who Grant Hill is? It's the guy from Sprite.
He looked cross-eyed from where
you were. He was looking up, okay?
I was like, of all the pictures to pick of this guy.
I mean, I didn't pick it. But yeah, man, like, this dude was considered like the second Michael at one point in time. Like, and those of you guys that are like me know that this era, this 95 through 99 era, Fila was hot. It's not like what it is today, where like it's like the hood rat shoe.
I don't see anybody wear Fila.
It's like what K-Swiss turned into. K-Swiss at this time, everybody had a pair of white on white K-Swiss.
Oh, I know. The K-Swiss was one of the first shoes where I went after them. And then I was so frustrated. Same thing with my shell toes. Why is there a basketball version and a tennis version? I just want the flat ones with the...
They were in here. Like, there's an ad for it.
It was so stressful because when I would get taken to the mall for my shoe shopping, you just had that one trip. And if you couldn't find what you wanted inside of that mall, you were settling.
Yeah, you didn't get what you wanted. But it's this whole lack of diversity. Like, I don't even understand.
I understand.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Like, what I'm saying is there is a lack of diversity. I don't understand how you can have fun in this space when everybody's the same.
Yeah.
You know, that was the cool part about being a kid back then, is that like your friend did have Grant Hills, your other friend had Kobe's, your other friend had Jordans, your other friend had Flights.
Oh, not now.
No, everybody's wearing Dunks or Crocs. Maybe there's a few guys with the Jordan Retro and stuff, like, but like, it's not like it was back then. It was so diverse when we were growing up. It was so fun to be like, yo, I can't wait to see what's next from whomever, like whichever brand. And now, this is where I get frustrated, because all I'm trying to do is like what we do, which is make YouTube videos and talk about this stuff. We can't even make videos on half of this because people just won't watch. And like, we can't spend the time to make the video if we're not going to make anything out of it. That's a whole day's worth that we could either take the day off and just chill out, or we could have been making content that would have made us money.
Yeah.
You know? And so like, I want to call it frustrating, but it's really just sad.
Disheartening?
It's very disheartening, which is just a different word for sad. Yeah, like, it's like so boring. That's the part when I'm going through what we're doing here today with this podcast, and we go through the sneaker news stuff. I can't talk about half the actually, because nobody cares. Like, if we don't talk about the DBook 1, nobody cares about the whatever. Like, even Jordan is getting right now because nobody cares about anything but its retros. Nobody cares about the new Zion. Nobody cares about the new game shoe. The new game shoe used to be there's a whole thing of it in this on the new game shoe, the Air Jordan 15, what people consider one of the worst Air Jordans ever. And it's all up in this. It's just so weird how the internet has been so awesome in a way to connect all of us and to let us see through other lenses. And instead, all we've done is all become the same sheep in the same herd. And it's so boring. If I make a video on anything but Nike Jordan, somebody's like instantly like, did they pay you to make this? No. Like, what kind of shill are you?
I wish.
Oh yeah, I know. But like, that's what I mean though. It tells more about that person than anything else. It's just like, so you're telling me that if you had a YouTube channel, in order for you to talk about an and one product, they'd need to pay you? That's what you're telling me. Because I've been making and one videos for 14 years. I've been making videos on Li-Ning and Way of Wade products for 14 years. Nobody was talking about Anta or any of these Chinese brands before I started doing it. I saw that these players were moving over to other brands because Nike treats people like shit. A lot of these players are tired of this. Some of them are cool with it. Some of them are totally cool getting a Nike account and
a big box of shoes.
And a big box of shoes every month. You know what I mean? Like, they love that. And for some people, I think that's great. Like, if that's you, that's you. But there's a lot of these athletes, so they're like, no, dude, like, my salary isn't going to pay for everything that I want for the rest of my life. I need other brand deals. And so Nike's not willing to pay. Anta is. And so that's when I was just like, why is all these people signing with Chinese brands? You know what I mean? This, like I said, like 14 years ago. So I bought, and that was, back then, that's hard. That was not easy to get those shoes. Like, I had to like hunt to like find those shoes. And I remember when I first started reviewing them and stuff, and I was just genuinely interested because I'm genuinely into shoes. I'm not into Nike. Nike may have started the passion that I have for footwear, but like they're not the only one that like I like. I like shoes. Like I like shoes a lot. Like I like design. You know what I mean? I like seeing the Grant Hills and what they got. I like seeing the Converse Rodman series and seeing what they offer. You know what I mean? So I would start implementing that on the channel. It's always the same thing. It's like, you getting paid for this? It's like, bro, come on, dude. Like, can you grow up a little bit? Like, why are you acting? And people always assume that those are kids. That's another misconception. A lot of the that you see on the internet, a lot of the trolling and all that stuff, these are grown-ass men acting like 2-year-olds. It's wild to me, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't believe it. So yeah, it's just like, it's so weird the way that things have shifted and the market has changed to where you can't be different anymore. You think that you're different. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna get these Travis Scotts and I'm gonna be dope. You know how many other people got that shoe? None of y'all dope. Y'all all the same. When I finally run into somebody wearing some questions, I'm like, yo, that's dope right there. You ballsy, bro. Like, cause people don't anymore. The sneaker scene today is just so whack. Like the conventions, sneaker cons and stuff like that. It used to be so fun. You'd go to those places, people would have tables of that you've never seen before. Never. I'm talking about PEs, player editions, samples, one-of-one relics, like literal sale samples of things that you may have missed as a kid, and then you're like, man, I can't believe that it's here again. Like, I haven't seen this since 1999. Like, that used to be the convention scene, and you go in there and it would be like a time capsule, and it would be so much fun. Now you go in there, everybody's got the same table with all the same, and they're all trying to do the same thing, which is charge you ridiculous prices for garbage.
I think that was the nice thing. This is not sneaker related, but just convention related. The most recent anime con we went to, it was refreshing because not every other booth was full of pops. Because we go to not a lot of those, but enough every year. And it just felt like for the last however many, I was just like, so it's just pops. That's all that's here is pops. I like pops, but everything's a pop. Like, this isn't even interesting to look at.
Well, to your credit though, like even just the toy hunting aspect had been the same, because it's kind of like the same shift in consumerism where resale is like prevalent, like more than collecting, you know? And so like you'd go to these conventions, these nerd conventions or these toy shows, all of the toys are modern and they're marked up. Where's the bins of stuff?
I guess that's the thing at those things, and even at the sneaker stuff. I enjoy the artistic side of things. So like, what can you do? What's outside of something I could walk into a Target or a Foot Locker and buy from, whether it's shoes
that's
or
related.
toys? Yes. Like, I want something that's kind of like one of a kind, that I get to remember this day that I am doing.
Correct.
And
like a trinket.
Yeah. Or
a souvenir.
So I was lucky at the anime con. I didn't get anything for myself, but I was able to get like some other items, and I'm like, this is cool. Like, you can't just, I mean, I could go on Etsy and probably find these things, but that's what's lacking for me. And I feel like at the anime con, it was kind of coming back, and I like that.
Well, that's how I'm hoping that things go in sneakers, but you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like a lack of everything.
Yes.
Interest right now, like views in general are down even on Nike Jordan stuff. So like, I get that we're in a down economy at the moment. So like, people aren't spending frivolously at the moment.
Yes.
But even when they were, that's what I like. When things are down like this, that's when brands come back. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about like Avia or Avia or whatever, but like, you got Reebok trying to shoot their shot, you got Puma trying to shoot their shot, New Balance even trying to shoot their shot. Like, and a lot of people are like, what do you mean New Balance have always been cool? It's like, yeah, they may have been cool in the 80s and in the early 90s, and then from the mid 90s to the just right now, they were dead. They had their little audience of grandpas and dads, but like, that's it. All of a sudden though, they went trendy.
Yeah.
Mostly because people couldn't buy the Jordans, so all the resellers were grabbing them and stuff. So that forced certain people, you know, over and stuff. And I think that those are like the real sneakerheads. You know what I mean? Where they're just like, no, I like shoes. I'm going to buy a pair of shoes. If I can't buy this shoe from this brand, I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to find something hot over there. And I think that that's really what started all of this. That people were being diverse back in the 90s and in the early 2000s. And I think that it's great for Nike as a company that they got so big as they did. Like, that's the American dream, is to be able to build something like that. But it really killed the competition in a way that killed your growth, your innovative growth. Again, they use the same technology that they have since 1979. I'm not playing. There is no innovation. They used to have the innovation kitchen. It's not even called that anymore.
No, it's not.
You know, and in that space, they don't innovate. It's sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, this brand is like a shell of itself. I think they need to be careful in the time like right now where sales are down and things are down, because this is where if you keep doing what you're doing, somebody else is going to come on top of you.
Ew.
But with all of that being said, feel free to sound off below if you're especially on YouTube, and leave your comments in the comment section about all the topics that we talked about. Is Ninja Turtles 3 really the worst one?
Oh man, I really need to think on this.
What?
I just was trying to, that whole time, think of a movie from my childhood that I was very like, why did I just sit through that?
There's not a single one that you can think of?
I don't know.
Well, you guys let us know. You have more time. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. Let us know what you think about everything down below. And anything else that you'd like to add?
If you are watching us on YouTube, obviously hit the thumbs up. If you're listening to us on other platforms, like hit those thumbs ups and stars. And I know some of them you can leave a review. Some of them will let you. So like do all of that, because everything helps. We're so very brand new to this. Yeah. And we're having fun doing it, and we want to keep doing it. So, but we need those things. Like, we need you guys to chime in and help out on that, and because we can only do so much. I mean, unless our content sucks, and then that's our fault. Tell your friends to listen, like all that good stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying. If you are, please do those things. But yeah, with all that being said, we will catch you guys in the next review. And until next time, guys. Peace. Have a good one.